30 cigarettes a day at one point, you write. And you didn't buy a
I
single
was
one.
that stupid. I mean, the RSS, for me, it was a completely positive experience. I didn't study their philosophy at that time or go into what their mission was or any of that. There was none of the stuff that today we talk about. The reason I put everything out there when I do something on social media and so on is just I don't need recognition, I don't need adulation, I don't need people coming and telling me how great I am.
Yeah.
But I put it out there so that people should say, okay, at the age of 50, this is possible, we can do it. At the age of 55, this is possible.
I'll begin with the most important question, because you have written a memoir.
Yeah.
And right in the beginning of the book, you talk about how you were hesitant about getting this out because you didn't think
Because
you
I
had
thought
a
it would
story
be
to
really
tell.
boring.
Yeah, you had no struggles, no adversities.
Yes, or at least ones that I recognized and I felt would have shaped my life. Of course, my life has been shaped by all the decisions that I've taken, the choices that I've made, which have been many and varied, and that all those things have kind of made me the person that I am today and helped me to choose further what I want to do with my life. But it's not really been a struggle. Or maybe I'm just a masochist and I enjoy struggle so much I don't see it as a struggle.
I know.
Which is what Rupa told me, in fact. Rupa, who's written the book with me. She's like, maybe it's just the way you look at things. So you don't struggle. I see something, any situation, any circumstance as an opportunity to learn more about myself. So however hard it may seem to other people, to me it's fun.
So what convinced you then finally? Or who convinced you?
Well, it was one of my partners, Raga
Okay.
De Silva. We have a company called Speaking Minds that engages speakers and manages speakers. And she said that it would be a good idea to do this. So of course Penguin had come to me several years earlier and I'd been telling them, yeah, we'll do it, okay, what am I going to talk about, what is it going to be like, and all of that, and I kept kind of pushing it ahead. But then Raga came on and she said, you have to do it, it'll be wonderful, you've got a great story, and I was like, yeah, okay. And then I took it a little bit more seriously, though I'm sure they don't believe me, because even after taking it seriously, it took almost 2 years.
Okay.
So I had actually read something on Facebook that Rupa had written.
Okay.
I didn't know Rupa was a published author at that time. I just wrote this little, I read this little story that she had written about some sports people who were representing India at the Commonwealth Games. And they were beautifully written stories. Just very, very short, I think maybe 100 or 200 words or something like that. But the real essence of the personalities came out, and I was really inspired by that. So when Penguin said, we need to choose a writer, and we can choose a writer for you, if you have someone in mind, you can tell us. I said, there is a person that I have seen on Facebook. I don't even know if we were friends on Facebook or how that popped up on my timeline. And I went to her page and I read all the stories.
Lovely.
So I said to them that, there's this person on Facebook that I've seen, her name is Rupa Pai, and I think she'll be great. So they said, are you crazy? Rupa Pai is a really famous writer and she's written these amazing books, and we've been trying to work with her for a long time. So I said, okay, then I'll ask her. And I just got her number and called her up and I asked her, and she was enthusiastic. Now maybe not so much, but then she was very happy.
Okay.
And then we just met, I think very few times. We met 5 or 6 times, and I kind of answered all her questions.
Really?
Yeah, that she had. So it wasn't a long process.
Right.
I kind of lengthened and stretched out the process by not getting back to them on time and not, reading the stuff that had been written and so on. So I was a really bad partner in this whole project. But she's done an amazing job. And
Right.
Penguin has been very patient.
When you write something about yourself, there's a lot of self-introspection involved. And we get to see it a lot in the book. All through the book, you
Is
keep
there?
going
So you
back.
did like the book?
I did like the
Okay.
book. And, you keep going back, your thoughts, your inner thoughts that
Yeah.
Rupa has, brilliantly captured.
Really well, really
And, some things that you did and you wished you hadn't. And
Right.
some things that you really think were good when it happened at the right time.
Yeah.
How did, a book like this then ends up becoming like this report card. you're looking at your life and where you outdid yourself. And did it help you in a way, after going back, reading the book again?
Well, actually, the thing is that I think it's beautifully written and it's a nice memoir. And I was hesitant because I thought that it's not that interesting. And even for me, I really live in the moment, And everybody tells me that you've got a really bad memory. My wife will tell me that you don't remember this, and you don't always do that. But particularly me, I don't remember things that I did yesterday. I don't remember things I did last week. So for me, I'm always doing what I'm doing right now, and that's the most exciting and that's the most fun. And that's it. So even to go back and think about, okay, what I did 20 years ago, what I did 15 years ago, to me is not exciting. It's not interesting. Like if you ask me what was the highest point of my life so far, is a moment in 1984. I think it's in the book where I won my first national championships, and I think nothing has exceeded that. Even though I've done so much. After that, I challenged myself, and
you were 18 then.
I was 18.
Yes.
I was 18 then, and that's a bit sad. I think you should always do things that are equally or even more exciting or bigger. But that excitement, when you feel that you've achieved something for the first time, nothing ever matches up to that.
Is that a realization that dawned upon you when the book came out?
No, I always knew that. That's why I remembered it. Otherwise I would have forgotten. So for me, I know there are so many things that are not in the book because I just haven't remembered them. But it's when I had these short conversations with Rupa, after those conversations I would say, oh, and this also happened, oh, that also happened, and I never brought it up because then the book would have been like 3 volumes.
It should have.
Well,
lovely.
But I think it was all there are interesting kind of passages, there are interesting phases, and everything that I've done in phases kind of is there. I just felt that when I was talking to Rupa, I wanted to keep it I was hesitant, so I wanted to keep it as short as possible. So I also suggested the structure, which is in the book, of telling the story against the backdrop of one of the things.
I love that structure.
Yeah. So it could have been anything. It could have been the first national championships that I won. It could have been my first medal that I won at the age of 6 if I had delved deep enough and gone far enough behind. It could have been the Iron Man. It could have been Ultraman. It could have been so many things. But I chose my first full marathon that I did in 2009 because that was the only time that I really struggled, to achieve something. And the reason that happened also was because of overconfidence. I had been running for about 5 years. I'd started with a half marathon in 2004. I'd been running that distance for about 5 years, and then I decided to do the full marathon. But I was really cocky, really arrogant. I really thought that I'm super fit, which I was, but I didn't allow myself to understand what it meant to actually run 42 kilometers.
Right.
I said, if I've done 21 and it's so easy, I can do 42. It's double, But it wasn't like that, and I had a really hard time, and that was a great learning experience as well. So I decided to have that as.
And you remember bits of those memories very clearly because that comes through.
Yes.
So Rupa did manage to catch everything that was going on in your mind.
No, that's the thing. It's only because of her that this book exists. I don't think the book would exist without Rupa.
Did you at any point in time feel vulnerable? Because you're talking about very personal things. Memoirs tend to make you very make you reflective.
No, I'm very happy to talk about things that have affected me, things that I've been affected by. I like to, because as you mentioned, does it help? So when I talk about things, even when I'm talking to you now, there are things that are going on in my head because one line might trigger a certain thought or a certain memory, and I go back to that and then figure out what is it that I actually learned from that thing. So the conversations were fun for me, and again a learning experience for me to go back into bits of my life that have actually taught me things and to articulate them, even internally.
not known to many. Your father enrolled you at the RSS when you
Yes.
were a kid,
Yes.
and you talk about it as being a fun experience, not contrary to the
I
popular
think I
opinion.
talk about everything as being a fun, fun experience. And yeah, I mean, the RSS, as I've mentioned in the book, when I joined as a child, I must have been 9 or 10 or something like that. And we had these games and exercises every day, and there was nothing religious or dogmatic or nothing like that. It was pure fun, fitness, exercise, nothing racist, nothing negative in it at all. For me, it was a completely positive experience, and the people who were there, who were helping us to play those games, and there was discipline was a big thing,
Right.
that you have to listen, you have to be obedient, you have to listen to your elders, you have to respect your elders. Those were all things
Did you
that
pick
you
up
needed
strains of discipline from there?
to.
You did have a disciplined childhood.
I did, but I think I was basically a disciplined child, and I think I'm a disciplined person. But of course, it's self-discipline. I don't think I'm very happy when I'm told what to do, like everybody. I don't like to be told what to do. I like to find out for myself. Even when I am, so a lot of people like guidance, so they don't like to be told what to do, but they like to be guided when they trust somebody, like a coach or a trainer,
Right.
for example. But I don't even like that. So I had that experience when I was a competitive swimmer. I had great coaches, but when I started running, for example, which was 17 years ago, for me that became an experience-led journey.
Right.
I didn't want to ask somebody what I need to do to achieve this. I wanted to find out for myself. So also the fact that I don't train for something. I try to keep a level of fitness and conditioning with which I can face any challenge that can confront me in the life that I have.
Right.
So that's how I do these challenges. So I say, okay, let me see if I can do Ultraman without training for it. Let me see if I can do another Ironman without training for it. Let me see if I can climb Kilimanjaro without training for it. I'll just go out and run now, the Mumbai Marathon. I don't need to train for it, because I have maintained a level of fitness that allows me to do that. And that level of fitness I have achieved only through being regularly active all my life.
Right.
I've never done anything really specific to achieve it.
So moving back to RSS, how long were you there?
I don't remember, maybe a couple of years, not too many years.
Not too many.
2 or 3 years, maybe. And I went to camps as well, which again, it was about, of course we marched here and there, and there was a uniform, and we learned stick fighting and all kinds of things. But as I said, there was none of the stuff that today we talk about that concerns the RSS.
So when you hear of these things, what?
I'm a little surprised. I don't discount it. I'm sure it's there. I didn't study their philosophy at that time or go into what their mission was or any of that. But for me, it was a good experience. It was a good experience. And to me, the people that I was with, they were good people.
In the book, there is this point where the course of your life changes with a small debacle that you have with an Indian coach,
Yes.
your swimming coach
Yes,
in
yes.
1986, and that kills your chances with the Asian Games.
Yes.
Now, when you go back to it, I think there's one line where you mentioned that you would have wished things were different,
Yeah.
and you would have done things differently.
That I should have been a little diplomatic. I'm still not. But now I'm in a different position
Right.
today. At that time, I didn't understand that I should have been diplomatic. I'm sure there would be situations even today where I know I would need to be diplomatic, and I would understand that, and I would do it. But at that time, I was.
Do you regret that, because it changed the entire direction that your life?
I do regret it, of course. I would have loved to represent India at that time at the Asian Games. I had represented India at the South Asian Games and all of that, but Asian Games are different. It's much bigger. It would have been a great experience. So of course I regret it, and I think it was my fault. I should have been smarter at that time. I don't blame the coach, because that's the way they are. What can you do? But it's always about how you deal with the situation that tells you who
Right.
you are, right? So I didn't deal with it correctly.
We also get a glimpse of how it was at home. You had 3 sisters,
Yes.
your parents.
Yes.
Your mother had a big influence on you.
Yes.
You absolutely adore her,
Yes.
from whatever we
Yes.
read and we've seen.
Yeah.
And she's been very supportive of everything that you've taken,
She has.
be it your
She
modeling
has.
career,
Yeah.
your girlfriends, acting, though she
Yeah.
doesn't think you're very great looking.
At all. Yeah. So no, she's always been there. So it's like a very solid backbone, a very solid support. It's not like she ever said, told us what to do, any of us, or it was just by example. So even for me today, when people ask me for advice, I don't give advice. And the reason I put everything out there when I do something on social media and so on is just that I know that somebody will be inspired to understand the value of what I'm doing and maybe do it for themselves. It's not because I want the recognition. I've had a lot of it in other parts of my life, whether it's modeling or acting and all that. I don't need recognition. I don't need adulation. I don't need people coming and telling me how great I am.
Yeah.
But I put it out there so that people should say, okay, at the age of 50, this is possible. We can do it. At the age of 55, this is possible. And with my mother also, it's been the same thing, that whatever situation or circumstance that she has had to confront, she has dealt with it in the best way possible. And that has been an example for us.
If there is one thing your mum was not supportive about when it came to you, what was that? Do you remember?
I think no,
Something
there
she
was nothing.
Didn't quite like that you did.
Have I written about something like that?
You have. But I'd like to get
I've
it from you.
forgotten. I've already forgotten it. No, but no, nothing that I can remember. I don't really listen to people, even my mother. I don't. I am a little headstrong, and I'm not aggressive, but I'm headstrong. So I don't tell people that I'm not going to listen to them, or I don't confront them, or I have any conflict. But in my mind, I know what I'm going to do, and I'm very sure of that. So it doesn't really matter that. Even if my mother, who of course I love and respect a lot, if she says no, that you shouldn't do this, but I'm sure I have to do it, then I do it.
Yeah.
Because it is my life, and she also respects that. So even though there are some things, like one thing that she didn't like, I don't know what you're talking about, was the fact that I used to drink.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the thing?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So she was really against alcohol and tobacco and smoking, and all of the vices, of course. I mean, all mothers are, I guess. But I was at that phase in my life and surrounded by those people who encouraged it. And it was an experience. And I didn't go overboard with that. I've had my share of even substances, and I didn't get addicted to them. But I had the experience, and I think that experience is important. But it's also important to have people around you or have a life that allows you to see the balance. I still drink occasionally. I used to drink a lot at that time. So I used to come home drunk, and she used to be horrified, and I used to be like, oops.
I found this one story very interesting, Milind. I don't know if you remember writing or talking about it. About you never buying your own cigarette because your mother didn't like it, and one of those things that just pricked you. That was your way of coming to terms.
Well, the thing is, so I never used to smoke or drink at home.
Yeah.
Obviously, I mean, I don't want to make it worse for her. So if I was outside, yes, with friends who were smoking and drinking, I would smoke and drink. But the fact that I didn't buy a single cigarette just shows how accessible it was at that time. Now cigarettes are much more expensive.
30 cigarettes a day at one point, you write, and you
30
didn't buy a single one.
I was that stupid. Yes, and I didn't need to buy a single one, because at that time when cigarettes were like 1 rupee or less, people were saying, oh, would you like a cigarette? Would you like a cigarette? All the time. And that's how, in fact, I would sit with 5 people, each of them would smoke 1, and I would smoke 5. Because when each of them was smoking, they would offer a cigarette and I would take it. So I have that kind of addictive, obsessive personality, but I'm able to get in and get out, I think, without scarring myself.
Yes.
So I've tried almost everything there is to try, and that I had access to.
It's interesting because you write about these things, substance abuse, or say alcoholism, or cigarette smoking. A lot of people don't talk about this when they're writing the memoir. They kind of keep information to themselves, and you decide to bear it all, considering you have become this idol of, everything that is being done right now, be it health, nutrition, or taking up, fitness. Why did you think it was important to talk about this? Because I think this is one part that, you talk about at length.
It's not that I thought it was important. Maybe Rupa thought it was important, so maybe she asked me more questions about it. But it's a part of my life, I know what I did, I know how bad it is, And because I have also been fit and very interested in health and fitness since I was a child, I know the difference, you know. So it was a phase I went through after being really, really fit and understanding the effect it had on me, not only physically but also mentally, emotionally. I could see that it was kind of pulling me down. I was living my life not at the optimum level, not at 100% for sure. And I eventually decided to stop because I wanted to live my life at 100%. I wanted to be there mentally, emotionally and physically as well as I could be, you know. So sports definitely gave me that anchor. Of course, my middle class upbringing and my mother and everything was also there at the back of the head saying this is all rubbish and this is shit and you shouldn't do it. But my mental discipline and the understanding of what is the best version of myself or what it could be was there with me because of sports. And that I think was a huge advantage for me as a child.
Did you quite give it up when you decided to take up running?
Well, I had actually stopped swimming competitively in 1988.
Right.
And I was really fit. I gave it up because of that particular incident that happened. I lost my motivation after that. And I kind of continued for a couple of years. I was still the national champion when I stopped. But I said, I don't feel like training anymore. And the training was tough. You know, I was swimming about 65 kilometers a week. So I was not motivated. I wasn't enjoying it. And I said, I'm going to stop. I had no idea of what I was going to do after that or what I would do with the fitness level that I had. Would I do any other sport? Some people said that, you know, why don't you train other people? But I'm not a trainer, so I don't like training other people or teaching other people or telling them what to do. I don't like it.
Considering you come from a family that's...
Can you imagine? Yeah. Even my sisters were teachers. And my grandparents were teachers. But I never. I think I am a kind of teacher, but not in the way that normal teaching happens, I guess.
Yes.
So I'm not very patient with people, you know. I'm only patient when I want to get something. Then I'm very patient. I am patient to the extent that will get me what I want. But if somebody wants something, I'm not patient with them. You know? So I'm not a good teacher. I could have a lot to teach, but I'm not a good teacher.
When I read the book, I got this repeated sense of you talking about dark skin. You know,
really?
I think I don't know if you've. It comes very often. You know, being dark skinned. You're not that dark though, but still.
I'm not.
Yeah, but was that a problem then? You know, it's not so much right now.
No.
But when you started off,
no, it
being
wasn't.
Dusky.
So when I started modeling, I did notice there wasn't so much conversation about it at that time. At all. In fact, when I started modeling, I didn't know that modeling was a profession. But I did notice that all the models, or most of them, were fair. You know, had a lighter skin color. And I was darker because I was really tanned, I'd been swimming and all of that. But the designers at that time, and the whole, of course they wanted something fresh and something new, so maybe the dark skin worked at that time. And in fashion, actually dark skin does work. You know, maybe it doesn't work in advertising, but it works in fashion for some reason. I mean, I know the reasons, but we're not going to talk about it. It was just something that I noticed. It's not something that bothered me because it actually worked for me. In fact, even when I went to Paris and I was working in Paris and I was working in London, people were really excited because it was the fashion world.
But that's where you introspect. You said, but why me? Because I was dark skinned or something of that sort. I remember that line, yes.
Yeah, because I didn't realize it. So now I realize it. That time I didn't. So I was like, you know, why do they like me that much? It's not like I look like any of the other people. And I didn't know what it meant, the industry at that time, what fashion meant, what advertising meant, what modeling meant, what is required, what are they looking for. It was just to me, okay, they're offering me lots of money to do nothing. Let me do it and take the money. I mean, that's it.
You talk about being extremely amused by the fact that you get so much attention from women, from female journalists. Whenever they meet you, they are in awe of you.
Yeah.
How do you deal with this?
I don't think it's really something to be dealt with. It's to be enjoyed, and I do enjoy it. So I've been asked on several occasions by young actors on how I dealt with it, because you know, when somebody is on television for the first time or on screen for the first time, and then they suddenly get so much attention from the other sex, and they don't know how to deal with it. because it's actually not real, you know. And at some level, they know that this is not real, and then they want to know what is, you know, I guess, and to what extent can they take it seriously. And I've seen so many people who have been overwhelmed by it, you know, not only in India, even abroad. I mean, they just lose the sense of self, and you see depression, and you see suicides, and you see in people who you think are so successful in the terms that we consider success. They have money, they have fame, people love them. What do they not have? But they can't handle it. They're depressed, and some of them kill themselves, or they go over the edge and then rehab, and you know.
It's just been fine for you.
Yeah, I never had a problem because I never actually took it seriously. It was strange to me. I think maybe because I never wanted it, and I was always really shy, so I never really encouraged it. I didn't put myself in that position where I would enjoy it to that extent. So to a certain level, I enjoy it, and I'm very happy that I never reached that level of stardom where I would not be able to have my own space in my own life. I mean, I love to run on the road. I love to walk on the road. I love to do the things that I want to do. So I have reached a level of recognition that allows me to do everything that I want. I have not gone beyond that, which would actually restrict me.
That reminds me to ask you, you know, when you first started running, how has it changed now? Because now you've almost normalized Milind Soman, seeing Milind Soman on the streets.
Yeah.
So I've seen you a couple of times.
Yeah, my handle is Milind running everywhere.
Yeah, so you know, when the first time it happened, you know, for someone to see a celebrity or someone they've seen on television, on hoardings, to see them running on the street, it's very unusual.
It is, yeah. So I meet people who are shocked all the time. But now, because of the media, like you said, it's normal now. Once they see me, they say, "Oh, that's Milind Soman." Earlier, it was like, "What are you doing running on the street?" This is about 15 years ago. You know, why are you walking here? Why are you? But today we don't have that. Yeah. Today it's like, at least for me, it's people see it as normal, you know. And again, with the whole craze about selfies, you know, because I never enjoyed it. I didn't want to take selfies with people, but it's a thing, and I'm everywhere. So at airports, I don't have like people with me or anything like that. I'm alone, and so people approach you, and of course the first thing they ask for is a selfie. And then I had that idea that I would ask them to do push-ups. One part of that idea was that if I asked them to do push-ups, they'd probably not take the picture.
But they do.
But they do, but then that I find fun, you know. I mean, it's great for them to actually do it, to find out that what is their level of fitness, whether they can or they can't, and to also get over that. It gives me something to talk about, you know, because it's, oh, do I have to do push-ups here? Like you'll be in a restaurant, I say, yeah, it's okay. And we were at the airport, yeah, it's fine. So, you know, it's not about, oh, I saw you 20 years ago. We just bypass all of that. So that's good.
I've known that you're a Harry Potter fan. I've seen you. You've spoken about
it. But just of the books, not of the movies.
Movies, okay.
It's like Game of Thrones. I love the books, but not the series.
Yeah. Not many know that you're a fan of Tarzan, and you find him like, you idolize him.
Oh, completely.
Why so?
Maybe it was the time at which I was introduced to Tarzan, which I mentioned in the book. Yeah, of course. I mean, I would read it. I have the entire series at home. So, not the comics, because I used to read the comics as well. They were fun because you could see the visuals and all that. And the artworks were really, really beautiful. But the stories and the character were incredible. I mean, that's why it's a cult, I guess. So, I was introduced when I was really young. I must have been, again maybe 10 or 9. And that was the person I wanted to be. I mean, I guess that's why superheroes
are. Are you close? Do you feel that you're close to that now?
No, I don't, unfortunately. Because I don't have the innocence that Tarzan has. You know, it's because he has never been exposed to society the way we see it. His whole persona comes from something that he has learned for himself by living alone in the jungle. It's not been taught to him. It's not been, he's not been exposed to any kind of influence. He's not read any books. He's not seen any movies. You know, so I don't know how much of me is me. Yeah. But he's all Tarzan.
Yeah. What about the missed opportunities with films? There are quite a lot of them, you know.
Yeah, which I don't regret.
You don't regret.
Which I don't regret. Maybe Like I said, because I'm
You call
very
yourself
happy.
a wooden actor. You're very self-deprecating that way at different
Well,
points in
people
time.
did, and I was quite happy to accept it. Though I have been nominated for like awards and stuff, but it's okay. I never took it very seriously. To me, acting is fun. I enjoy doing it. I never saw it as a career. To me, it's like a small vacation, you know,
Okay.
into another planet. Like if I'm doing a movie or I'm acting in a series, when I'm on the set, it's like the real life, which is all the rest of it doesn't exist. I'm in a kind of bubble,
Right.
which is an amazing feeling, you know, but I can't do that all the time. You know, I have to come out and be real. Because what happens on a set is that you're a very, very special person. And that can be bad for me, you know. Could be bad for a lot of people, but for me, for sure. Because you're treated like you are really superior. And I already believe that. So I don't want, I don't need to be encouraged in that any further. So, yeah, for me, it's a little vacation. You're treated like a god. And everybody is there at your beck and call to do the smallest thing that you want, and it's fun. But you have to get out of that. I have to get out of it.
So when you take up a role, what do you think of? Like, what comes to mind? Why do you want? If you had to go for a movie now,
One is whether I have the time, and two is if the character is a character that I've not played before, and then the third thing is the people that I'm going to be working with. Do I think I'm going to enjoy working with them? So if these three things are okay, and when I'm talking about the character also, it's also the story, then I consider it.
do you have the time for it now? Considering you're doing so many different things.
I do. There's a web series that I'm currently doing, so the second season will be out now. I also I shot for one day for a Tamil film day before yesterday, and they wanted only 6 days. So what happened was I did about 3 or 4 South Indian films
Yes.
in South Indian languages, but then I realized that they were just offering me the same role again and again.
What was that?
Like a bad guy, but the same bad guy. So even if it had been an interesting bad guy, I would be okay with it. But very unidimensional and not exciting. So then everybody who came to me, I used to say, no, I don't want to do it. Till this one, and they said it's not a bad guy, it's a good guy, and you're helping the hero. And I said, okay, that might be interesting. So I'm playing an army guy who helps the hero, which is nice. Would be fun.
What about the role of women in your life? You know, there was a soothsayer, a Sardar, who told your mom that you'll be surrounded by women.
Yes.
Your mom didn't think too much of it then.
No.
And she doesn't think too much of it now.
Yeah, and I don't know how he said that. So he was a palmist. I think an amateur palmist, because he was a guide. We were going to see the Bakranangal Dam, the whole team. And he just took my hand and he said, he told my mother that he's going to be surrounded by women his whole life. So I don't know whether he was joking, but it's the truth.
Yes.
Yeah.
Be it the companies or the companies you've started, or your girlfriends,
my partners,
your sisters.
the women who've been in my life, the Pinkathon, which is all about women. It's been.
How significant that role of theirs has been in your life?
I think I like being with women. I've learned a lot through the women. It's not that I don't get along with men. I get along with men very, very well, very comfortable. But I prefer
Company of women.
the company of women. I love being around women.
And Ankita, her story is very interesting.
Yeah.
You kind of chased her.
Oh, completely.
You did?
Yeah, I did.
What was it like, and what got you hooked?
I don't know.
That
I
dance.
mean, the interesting part is that you don't know.
No.
And it's the fact that you don't know that always hooks you. I just saw her in the club, and I said, wow, this girl is so amazing, and I don't know why, but the thought just came to me that she's amazing, and I want to get to know her better. But again, I did not approach her, because the position and nonsense like that. So a lot of people came and they were asking me to dance, and I was doing that, and then suddenly she was there in front of me and she said, would you like to dance? And I said, oh, thankfully, finally she's come. So then I danced with her and I asked her the most inane questions. Like, I was meeting her for the first time and I asked her, what does your father do? How many siblings do you have? And, stuff like that. And she was also thinking I'm like really weird. But, so we left. I wasn't able to give her my number because she didn't have a phone and all of that. But then we got in touch. She sent me a message the next day. I had given my number to her friend. And she sent me a message the next day saying that she had a great time. So obviously immediately I invited her out for a date.
And it took 2 weeks before you all finally met again. I think she had...
Yeah, because both of us were traveling. She
yeah.
was based in the same hotel that I was staying in. And I was there for the Chennai Pinkathon. So I was coming back to Bombay and going back to Chennai. And so for us to really meet again, it was like 2
Right.
weeks. It was the same. So I had the same feeling when I met her for dinner that I had when I saw her on the dance floor. It was just like, I really want to get to know her.
And
better.
very sweet story of how, you eventually got convinced to get married. She
Well,
didn't
that
really
was
force
traumatic.
you.
Because the thing is, when we met for the first time, it's like, and again, we had this conversation on our first date about marriage and kids and everything.
Right.
And she was 21, I don't know what she was thinking. I was like, we both agreed that, marriage is not for us and kids,
Right.
and we're not interested in all of that kind of thing. And I was like, yay. And then a couple of years later, she said, her sister got married and she
Right.
was at the wedding and she loved that whole experience. She said, oh, it would be so nice to get married. I said, excuse me? You told me you never want to get married and, you can't spring this on me now. She said, no, I know, it's nothing. But then it kind of kept cropping up every few months. And then I knew that she was thinking in that way. And her family was also, by that time, it was almost 3 years that we were seeing each other. So eventually I got round to it. I said, okay, if you really think that we should do this and you're going to be happy, then I'm happy to do it.
How does marriage life seem like now?
Oh, it's wonderful.
Yeah.
It's really, really wonderful. I'm very happy that we did take that decision and we got married. Because I think it's something that we're both comfortable with. If I had still not achieved that level of comfort, then
Right.
there would have been a little bit of some rough edges there. But I think both of us are very, very happy living together, being together. Yeah, so I think it's worked well.
That's nice. If there's one thing that you've skipped in the book, and I'm sure you've done that deliberately, so you do not want to talk about it, but is there something that you've skipped?
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
lots.
Well, lots of things that have happened also in my life, because I've just got the more, what I think were the more interesting and more impactful moments. But one thing that I have skipped is girlfriends.
You've not gone into the...
I haven't. Because I wasn't sure whether they would like to be mentioned, and
Did you speak to them before you...
I didn't.
You didn't.
I didn't. That's why I didn't mention any of them except for Milind, who I was married to briefly, and Madhu, who
Madhu.
everybody knows about.
Right.
So a lot of them people don't know about. So I didn't want to suddenly bring it out there and create some issues for them, because it's so many years, so many things. They have their own lives and so on.
Right.
So I thought it would be fair, and I didn't want to call up everybody and say, should I tell our story? And I thought it wasn't that important for other people to read about.
Yeah. How does life feel like now, and especially that, you've written a memoir at this point. A lot of people say maybe you should wait it out a little and, then write a book about your life. But why now? Why does it feel like the perfect time to have written a book about yourself?
I don't think it's the perfect time.
Okay.
In fact, when I just put it out on, I think Instagram or something, somebody asked me, they said, shouldn't you have waited a little longer?
Right.
But maybe I'll do another one. I don't know. Because, I'm still doing stuff. I'm doing lots of things. I have so many things that I want to do in my head. And those will all be interesting and exciting. And I'm sure I want to, if people actually read this book, then it might show that they want to read about those things as well. I might write another one.
One last question
Sure.
about the title of the book, Made in India.
Yes.
A 33-second
Appearance.
appearance.
Is it only
in a-
33 seconds?
That's what you write about.
Oh, I don't know,
in a
33
4-minute
Yeah.
video, and you suddenly rose to stardom. You were a very well-known supermodel, but
Yes.
you became a face
Yes.
that everybody recognized.
Yeah.
Was that the reason you chose the title, or?
Yeah, it was actually, because a lot of people. So when I did the video Made in India, which was in 1995, that was the year I actually stopped modeling. I was very well recognized as a model at that time, and that's why Alisha approached me to do this video. And videos were a new thing in India, to be on the satellite channels. And again, so it was something new. I wanted to do it, and I never think about what's going to happen after that. And of course, what happened was amazing, Like when they came to me, and I think I've written it in the book as well, I said, oh, this is
Tacky.
Yeah.
That's what you called it.
yeah, oh my god, am I going to be seen in this video? I like the song, it was nice. But I didn't expect the kind of reach that it would have until today. I mean, people write to me about Made in India all the time. So I think most of the audience that knows me has seen this video. It's crazy.
Great. It was lovely speaking with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Thank you.